Oh, no.
What's wrong?
All the damn ducks in the site next door. Look at that.
Oh, I see that, honey.
There must be 15 of them.
At least. I think they're here to see you.
It drives me crazy. I'm going to get the water hose.
No, you're not. We're getting ready to record a podcast.
I cannot stand for them to come over to this site and poop all over.
You'll be fine. It's messy, but you'll be fine. You know why they have tail feathers, though, don't you?
No, I don't. Why?
To hide their butt quacks. See, that made you smile.
Yeah, it did. Thank you, baby.
You're welcome.
Welcome to The Riveted with Chris and Gina. We're excited because this is a first for our podcast, and I think there's a lot of firsts for our podcast because it's still fairly new.
A new podcast.
Yes, but Airstream makes a lot of different types of products.
Yes.
And this fun couple that we met have a very unique Airstream.
And a very unique story.
Yes. How you know the story already?
Oh. Was I not supposed to let that out of the bag?
Anyway, Airstream makes
because I like to talk.
Yeah. Airstream makes this cool trailer called a Basecamp. And very unique style, very unique design. And this couple owns one of those, and we're excited to hear all about it and their Airstream adventures so far. Their names are Keith and Valerie Cook. They're from the great state of North Carolina, and we are excited to have them on the podcast. So, you guys, welcome to The Riveted with Chris and Gina.
Hi, welcome.
We're glad to be here.
We're glad you're glad.
Yes. Yeah. It's going to be fun. So, Jan introduced me to Valerie yesterday, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just hanging out.
Well, we met on Wednesday at the happy hour.
Oh, yes, we did.
One of the happy hours, yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, I've slept since then. You got to give me a minute.
And none of us could guess your music and your style.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh, that was... Okay, listener. So Chris at the happy hour thought he was going to be really smart and play a Carolina song for the Carolina Airstream Club. And no one in the Carolina Airstream Club knew the Carolina song.
It was an epic fail.
It was a failure.
But it was worth a try.
Yeah,
but
that's okay.
Anyway.
It's okay. You learned.
Yeah, you did.
Yes.
It was
Can I get back to my story?
Fun for me, even though it was embarrassing.
Can I get back to my story?
Go ahead.
It's not all about you, Chris.
I know.
Okay. Yes. So Keith and Valerie were introduced. Excuse me. Let me go back. Valerie was introduced to me by Jan the other day, and Jan said, "You've got to talk to them. They have such a unique story." And I said, "Well, introduce me." So she took me up, and Valerie and I had a chance to speak a little bit, and that's where I heard the story. And I think it's pretty unique and pretty phenomenal. And I'm excited to hear it today, and I'm glad you guys are here with us.
Very good.
Well, thanks.
Yep. So we always like to kind of start this fun conversation off by asking, like, how you guys had Airstream show up in your life. How, what was going on in life for you to decide, hey, I want to think about getting an Airstream and then starting down that path. So, tell us a little bit about that and how that got started.
So it's kind of unique. We're a blended family. Val and I met 2010 as a blind date. She agreed to go out with me on a very VIP event for them, and she had 3 requirements to go out with me in the introduction. One, I had to drive a nice car. Second,
clean car. That was it. It was clean.
Yes, that's true.
That makes
the
sense.
Second was that I had to buy her coffee on her first introduction and not make her, buy her own coffee.
Right.
And the third is I had to be able to carry on a conversation.
Now, all this was unstated. It was just after I met him and after we went through this process that then I explained to him that I thought, I accepted this blind date and I'm supposed to go to this fancy thing. Maybe I ought to meet the guy first.
That makes sense.
So we hit it off together. Both of us camped in our previous lives. Val camped typically in a tent, and I camped in a tent trailer. So as we started dating and becoming closer and moving forward, I really fell in love with the original base camp. the one without the toilet, the one with the aluminum bunks that folded up on the wall.
Yep.
Right.
I was not so thrilled.
We didn't have one key criteria. Didn't have a flushing toilet.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as much as I tried to get her to do that, we were not successful.
Dragging my heels, I think is what I'd say.
Yeah.
And so then we came up with the idea we'll rent one because through RV rentals, you could rent a base camp. And I said, okay, we'll rent it and I'll see what it's like. So we rented a 16-footer, right?
Yeah.
And it was a better experience. And it did have a bathroom, so it was good for that.
And it was at the height of COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We both had come back. We were out living out of country. Both had come back to this country, to the United States, and living in North Carolina. We said, well, let's go to the Outer Banks. And so outdoorsy, we found a couple that rented a 16-foot Airstream and Basecamp. And that's all that Airstream made at the time was the 16. And we spent a week out on the national seashore of the Outer Banks, and we survived in the base camp.
And you liked it? You enjoyed it?
It was better than I had anticipated. It had everything you need. Had a basic kitchen area, had a sleeping area. The only thing was that you had to collapse the eating area to sleep. So that was one of the things. But shortly after we did the 16, they came out with the 20, which had a static dinette area where I didn't have to take the bed up and down all the time. So we could leave the bed open all the time.
So we ordered our Basecamp 20X, which is the off-road version of the Basecamp, in the height of COVID. And everyone wanted a Basecamp. It was the number one selling Airstream at the time. And it had a long list. And it took a long time for it to come in, almost a year.
Wow.
From the time we ordered it to get delivery of our base camp. And I still have a picture of her face when it finally came in. She was grinning from ear to ear.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure that it gets a lot of attention because it is a very unique styled trailer. And I can only imagine that it would be a popular model back during that time with so many people wanting to kind of get out there and get away from the cities and get away from the neighborhoods.
Absolutely.
Yeah, have a lot of space around you.
And they have the vision of going out into the wilderness, and then they see this cool, conceptual design of how it's an Airstream, but it doesn't have the same look, and it kind of
it looks more sporty and
it's
and
such
outdoorsy.
such a neat
With the quality inside that
Absolutely.
Airstream has.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, the 20, does it have the tent off the back and the awning and all that? Like the 16?
Accessories.
Accessories.
Yes.
So
Okay.
we have put Moon, which is one of the companies that Airstream recommends for the awnings. We have a Moon extra large off the side by the door, which is 9 by 12, which gives us a tremendous amount of outdoor living space.
You can have a couple of chairs, a table. You can have people over.
Yeah.
And you can walk on either side of it.
Right,
We
yeah.
found the smaller one. It's kind of too short. You kind of got stuck between the trailer and the table.
You say we get stopped regularly at gas stations as we travel. And I would say about half the people say, isn't that a horse trailer? Because it looks so different that when we say an Airstream.
Yeah.
They think it's an aluminum horse trailer because it has the single back door, just like a horse trailer.
And it's shaped odd.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, it's reminiscent of the very first Airstream, that teardroppy kind of shape. And so people kind of think that it's an older model maybe, but it, once they get inside and look, and we've had, people here, because it's a huge RV park, there are people who have other RVs or they're staying in a home nearby and they'll drive their little golf cart back and forth, especially when they see all these Airstreams, and they'll stop and they'll just look at it. So we'll invite them to go through it so they, can get a peek.
Yeah, and I think it is uniquely laid out. I mean, you do have a kitchen, dedicated kitchen area. You have a wet bath with shower and the toilet. you've got a dinette that's dedicated. And then for us, we live with the rear couches always down for a king bed. And one of the things unique in the 20X is oftentimes the bed in that smaller trailer is bigger than the trailers in the Flying Cloud or the classics, which is pretty amazing.
I think they market it that way too, right?
Yes, they do.
It's a king
longer.
bed in the back,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. Yep, sure is. That's neat.
I'd get lost in it.
Yeah, well, I could stretch out in it. It's really nice.
Very
and
nice.
and the unique part of the base camp is that the back door opens, and we like to kayak canoe, so we can just tuck them right through the back door into the rig, and you don't have to load them on top of your car or have special racks or anything.
That's
Very
very
cool.
convenient.
It-
Wish we
it's
could do that.
Probably over half our trips are carrying Kevlar canoes inside the base camp.
Yeah.
And it is, Airstream has designed the base camp to do that. There is 6 tie downs on the floor. So you can strap bicycles, you can strap canoes, kayaks, your outdoor gear. And that goes back to the original thought of the base camp was for outdoor gear to be able to travel inside. And they've kept to those roots very, very well.
Yep. Very
I
cool.
like that. I don't think I've ever paid that attention.
Well,
But I haven't been. No, I did go in 20.
Yeah.
I did, but it's been a while. But I don't remember seeing that. So that
I
would
know
have
it's a
struck me.
very
as
rugged
liking it.
floor. The flooring they've got is very utility driven flooring, and for all kinds of
Oh,
gear
absolutely.
you put in there.
Well, it's a more outdoorsy
Yeah.
type trailer. At least that's what they seem to be marketing to with that.
More off-road kind of stuff too, so
Exactly.
you can boondock BLM land or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
And it has a little higher. I keep forgetting. It's higher off the ground, and
Yeah.
there's more space between the tire and the trailer itself,
Yeah.
so it accommodates for bumps and
Yeah.
and ruts and uphills.
Right. Keeps
and-
you from bottoming out.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's an easy
Yeah.
tow
So
at that size.
your trip you made to the Outer Banks of North Carolina in the rental base camp, when you got your new one, where did you set off to on your first voyage, or like what's been some of your most fun trips so far?
So I would say it's a 2-part question. Our first base camp, we call it our get to know you
Yeah.
event. We went up to Pisgah National Forest and camped at a national forest campsite, which had no water, no sewer. We wanted to test the full boondocking capability.
And it rained.
And it rained.
Yeah.
It rained hard, and we survived. We do have the full solar package on it. So we have 3 Battleborn lithium-ion Life Pro 100 amp batteries, and there is 370 watts of solar on top. So we proved that we could go 3 days and survive, and that's really what we bought it for.
Yeah.
Was to be able to do that.
Absolutely.
I think we've done 2 unique trips. One, we've done a unique trip up through the Adirondack National Forest, and we mooch docked at my brother's place.
Note, he has an electrician's son, and he put in 30 amp for us.
Oh, wow.
That's good.
So before we got there, so we had a nice little parking spot, and we could plug in. So
Yeah, that's
luxury.
good. Yeah.
That's very nice.
But we spent every day canoeing in the back country of the Adirondacks and playing with the loons and playing with wildlife and going out and do some fishing.
Yeah.
It was just a wonderful trip.
Now,
What time of year?
It was August.
Yeah.
So now, does your son, the space that he had for you, is it long enough for a 30-foot Airstream to back in? Because I'd love that address.
We look for mooch stocking
It's
spots.
his brother, and
brother.
brother.
yeah, there's lots of room there, but they're not there full time now.
Yeah.
So it's more like a camp, a summer camp,
Oh, that's
where
fun.
the family has property, and then they have 1, 2, 3 houses on it that are occasionally occupied.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Those are always good spots to have in
Yes.
your.
And having his brother have the local knowledge of all these little lakes that
Yes.
there's some we saw one, maybe two people. So you're out there and it's so quiet.
Wow.
Oh.
You hear the loons, and it was beautiful.
Is this the lakes that have the lily pads and the?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
they're
and the marsh grass that you
beautiful.
go through. Yeah.
Yes,
Very
those are
cool.
beautiful.
We also did a late May camp trip through Florida, and we went to all the national parks, state parks in Florida. Went all the way to Key West with it, and we were out on Flamingo Point at Everglades National Park, which, by the way, make sure your tank is full before you leave Miami to go there. We didn't, and it was a mistake, and we paid the most expensive I've ever paid for gas at the marina. But we went out and canoed out with the alligators and crocodiles and just had a great time. And so for us, the lifestyle of the base camp, being outdoorsy, really has worked well for us.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It sounds like it. We are big kayakers, so you are speaking our language.
Yep.
Yes. Want to go.
We travel with 2 12-foot kayaks on the truck all the time, and I will admit that we have not put them in the water as often as we should as of late, but this story is inspiring us to get them back out there.
Yes, I'm ready.
Big time. Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Well, then you need to also come near where we live, and you can boondock at our house, and put your kayaks in on the New River. And there's a company that will shuttle you and your kayaks up, and you come down the river, and then where you've left your car parked, you get out and you
Very
pack
nice.
up and go home. And it's a
Oh.
small fee when you have your own gear. They also rent gear.
Yep.
But it's a lovely little.
Yeah. But when you have yours,
Back area.
they're just your transportation,
Yeah.
Yeah,
basically.
sure. That's
Cheap.
awesome.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And so you guys go kayaking with us?
Sure. Yeah. Be happy to.
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We,
Put it on our calendar.
Yep.
Yeah.
We traveling just the two of us kayaking sometimes, and we want to kayak on a river. We struggle sometimes with the logistics of that.
Exactly.
And the first time ever in my life that I ever attempted hitchhiking was because of that. But I felt it was worth it and worth the risk because we were in Grand Teton National Park, and we wanted to kayak the Snake River. And there's a section that they recommend you do for fairly calm river water. And there's a section of road right through there that it's just well known that people will hitchhike for that
In order
reason.
to do that.
Yeah. And so I had already been told by a couple people, yeah, it's no big deal. Somebody will get you. It might be a few minutes, but somebody will stop.
It was almost immediate, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
And
It was perfect.
it was perfect timing. It was still weird, to like literally do the thumb deal, but I did it, and we had an epic
So
day.
you did the thumb instead of pulling your pants leg up?
No, I didn't. Only if I got desperate would I have done that.
Oh, is that what it
Yeah.
is? Okay.
But
Or flash a little cash.
yeah.
We'll
Here,
pay
right
for
here.
gas.
Yes.
yeah, that was an awesome day.
Yes.
And
So Valerie was telling me yesterday whenever we were speaking, you said, Valerie, that y'all have a unique activity that has happened with your rig. Can y'all talk about that?
Oh, that's Keith's story.
Ah.
We live in a very small town in northwestern North Carolina, and there was an independent movie being filmed close to where we live. And since we live in a small, close community, the director contacted friends of ours, and it's kind of like the ripple. You drop the pebble, and then somebody talks about this, somebody talks about this, somebody talks about this. Well, Keith got involved because he held up his hand and said, oh, sure, I'll bring our base camp, and it can be your, like changing room or bathroom or whatever you need.
Yeah.
Because where they were filming, you didn't have access to public restrooms. Some places didn't have any buildings. So he volunteered the base camp and drove out to wherever they were filming every day.
It wasn't quite volunteer. It was more voluntold.
oh,
So
I've been hearing that term a lot at this rally.
Yes.
voluntold.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't look them in the eye. They'll
That's
catch
right.
you and make you
Yeah.
volunteer for something.
Correct.
So to give some context to your listeners, North Carolina Film Association every year sponsors for college students a first time in the film industry. So they've graduated from one of the 3 College of Arts, and they pick a director and producer from North Carolina that are pretty famous in the industry. And this one happened to live in northwestern North Carolina, was born and raised there, very famous director, and he agreed to do this indie-style film. And a friend of ours, lives next door neighbor, was asked because he raises wood bison. Wood bison were originally from North Carolina, and they were pushed west. And today they're predominantly known for Yellowstone and in the western part of the United States.
Don't pet the fluffy cows.
Don't pet the fluffy cows.
Right.
So he's reintroduced them, and they were used as part of backdrop of this movie. So we were having dinner with him, and the producer was there and talking to us, and he said, "I'm really trying to find somebody who has an Airstream." And the friend of ours goes, "Keith has an Airstream. I'm sure he'll be happy to help you out on the film." So during the 3 weeks of filming, I ended up getting up every morning early at 9 o'clock, delivering it to the location where the film was going to be done that day. As Val said, it was predominantly very rural settings. The film is set about, and I'm not going to mention the film name because I don't have permission.
Sure.
It's still in production yet. And so we went to these sites. Some of them were late at night filming because the lead and the actor falls on a campfire, went on fire, so we had to have fire departments there and all. But they used the trailer as part of the film. And part of the nostalgia of the base camp is, as Val said, if you look at it, it looks like the original Wally Byron trailer.
Yep.
So even though it's a newer version, it could be made to look like the original period of the original. And so it worked out great. So we spent 3 weeks taking this around every day, through Saturday and Sunday also. So these students, could learn the film industry firsthand. They got a small stipend from the North Carolina Film Association to do this. And supposedly the base camp's going to be in the film when it's released next spring.
Very cool.
Keith is also going to be in the film because because extras, you don't get to pay people for indie films. They're trying to find as many volunteers. So he's a person sitting in the cafe who is pretend eating his waffles and then has to rush up to the window as the police come up outside the window.
Oh, this is
take
exciting.
1, take 2, take 3. Yeah.
Wait, Gina, we have a movie star in our trailer
We do.
right
There
now.
you go.
Right
Do you
now.
want his autograph? People
Yes.
have been asking.
Absolutely.
Yes.
This is amazing stuff.
See? I told you they had a unique and special story.
Wow.
Yes.
Are you going to win an Oscar or a Grammy or something?
No, I'm not a named character.
Okay. All right.
I will get credits, 2 credits.
Yeah.
One for the transportation coordinator.
Ooh.
Because I transported all the
Yep.
generators and stuff with the base camp. And
Wow.
I'll get a credit for being in the extra in the
That's
cafe
perfect.
scene.
Yeah, but that has to be like, that makes you feel good. It's not just the fact that, oh, hey, I had a camper that they used, but they specifically were looking for an Airstream and you were able to provide that. And I know that felt good, right?
It did.
Yeah. And it's a unique Airstream. So, all Airstreams are unique in their own way. So don't fuss at me for saying that. But it's shaped uniquely compared to the rest of
For
them.
the time era that they were portraying in the film. Yeah, the era for the characters.
Yeah. No, that's wonderful.
That's really awesome.
Yeah. But I am curious, though, because when I asked the question, you kind of hesitated a minute, like you have more than one story to tell.
Some
and
of
now
them are
they're
Airstream
giggling.
related, and some are not. And I thought it's kind of unique. We were looking in our retirement years to be a bit more active, but we unfortunately had a very severe accident in Alaska, and Keith had to have his both legs. I say they're like upside down Eiffel Tower, so he has metal and screws and stuff in his legs, and he can't hike like he was going to be able to do, and so the off-road part is now kind of a pall, and we're gonna move up
Oh yeah,
like the Jeffersons. We're gonna move on up.
moving on up.
Yeah,
That's good. That's awesome.
try and get a larger one, a little more comfortable, easier to move around in.
But staying with the Airstream
Staying
brand.
with the Airstream.
Yes,
Sold.
It's
Yeah.
an addictive brand, isn't
It
it?
is very addictive. And, because it's a king size bed, it takes up the entire back of the trailer. It's an 8-foot wide trailer. It's not the 8.5 of the other trailers. And so the bed takes up the entire part. And because my legs were destroyed and rebuilt, I have to scooch because my head's at the door at the back and my feet are, towards the first third of the trailer. So I have to scooch and I wake her up every night. And so for harmony and bliss,
Yes.
we're looking for twin beds.
You
And
have to keep the wife happy.
Oh, definitely. And there's those, late night trips to the bathroom and scoot,
Yes.
get out.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I
I
get
get
it.
tired of that pretty quick.
So, can we announce that your Airstream is going to come up for sale for anyone who's interested,
We
or
did
have you
that
already sold
when
it?
we did the open house. We said we are taking. We're considering selling. Well, we're actually made the decision to sell because we're looking to move into a little bit larger. So hopefully, enough people during the pandemic bought larger ones that also want to get out of their larger ones because having a trailer is not just hooking it up and going. There's a lot of work involved.
Absolutely.
And people don't understand that. So they buy a trailer thinking they're just going to hook it up and go. Oh, no. There's maintenance. There's checks. There's a special hitch. There's all kinds of stuff that you have to do.
Weight distribution.
Yes. You have to be, they have the right rig to tow it. So,
lot.
yeah.
I will say the Basecamp's unique that way. You don't need a large specialized truck or SUV. The 16, one of the unique things about the Basecamp, you can look at any outdoor vehicle and you will see that trailer in their advertisement. So Subaru uses it to tow against their Ascent, which is their small size vehicle. You see it, Rivian and Tesla both show it being towed. So the Airstream Basecamp especially is used for advertisement and media because it's lifestyle of Wally Barham back taking a vehicle that wasn't designed to tow and tow a vehicle across, the African to Asia caravan.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Which was phenomenal, by the way.
Yeah.
We've seen the films on that.
Well, and imagine if the technology of the Basecamp was available back then on those epic caravans he was doing, and that's just a testament really actually to this brand, because a lot of the purpose of those caravans, some of it had to do with R&D in the field to see what worked, what broke, what needed to be improved upon and things like that. And the same thing today. And this Basecamp obviously was designed to appeal to, outdoor enthusiasts that really wanted to go to the next level. And it's a perfect design for that. So,
And because of its versatility and the fact that it is lightweight, easy to tow, people have. There's a Facebook group for Basecamp people, and in one of them, there's at least one traveling nurse who she and her dog travel from her assignments, and she travels in a Basecamp, and she has it all outfitted, and has Wi-Fi and all that connection, so she can go from place to place, and then she doesn't have to pay for housing, so she gets that extra money too.
that's awesome.
Have you decided, if you're out looking, have you decided what Airstream that might interest you
Have you
to
honed in on a
move up
model
to?
yet?
We zeroed in on 2.
Oh,
Really?
give us the
Already?
scoop.
So it becomes a question of finance. It always does. So we're either looking at a 25 Flying Cloud twin bed in the front twin bed with a hatch in the back.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So that we can maintain the kayaks. And we say kayaks, they're actually canoes that are made out of carbon fiber and Kevlar, very light, so
And they're skinny, right?
very skinny.
Yeah.
Very skinny. So that Val can lift them. She's 5'2", and not very muscular. So 50-pound kayak she can't lift. A 14-pound kayak at 11 feet she can carry.
Yeah.
Is that really how much it weighs?
My canoe,
Yes.
it's
Wow.
12 feet.
11 feet.
I have 11 footer, and we can say the name of it.
Yeah.
The brand
Yeah.
Hornbeck,
Hornbeck.
and they have a unique construction, and they have different types or different styles. But I found it easier to get in and out of a canoe than a kayak.
Yeah.
So, and the fact that I can carry my own makes it nicer too.
Yeah. I mean, we have 12-foot kayaks.
Yes.
And they're really not that elaborate. I mean, they have a nice seat and a
They're just a
storage in the
base.
back, but they weigh 75 pounds apiece.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Val's is 11 foot, as I said, 14 pounds. I have a 13-footer, which is 18 pounds.
Wow.
So really nice. And then we both use carbon fiber paddles
Yep.
to ultralight. Get back to the story. I really want to trade wind with the rear hatch,
Yeah.
25. I'm an electrical engineer by trade. I'm really intrigued in what Airstream has done with the electrical system on a trade wind. And today here, yesterday during the rally here, we got to hear a lot about the trade wind electronics and the solar capability and the battery capabilities. And it just fascinated me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I mean, I don't know the specifics, but there's probably a noticeable jump in price between a trade wind and a 25 flying cloud.
And they're both, actually, all of the trade wind is a 25 flying cloud
Yeah.
with a
Big major solar package. And
big major solar package.
Yeah.
It's got, like the base camp, it's got a 3-inch lift.
Yep.
It runs the same tires as the base camp.
Yep.
It's designed for off-road, wilderness,
Yeah.
outdoors. And for me, I want to maintain that outdoor living. I may not be able to hike as far as I used to be able to hike, but I still can go out on
Sure.
BLM and everything. And one of the caravans I want to do, and we listened to the caravan, is the Ruts to Nuts caravan,
Yep.
which is the Oregon Trail.
Yes.
And, I have a family member that actually founded the Oregon Trail. So
Whoa.
to be able to go back out there and relive the trail that he did, and his wife and children just fascinate me to be able to do that in my Airstream.
See, that's a good little tidbit of a story right there that fits perfect with exactly why we wanted to do this podcast, is hearing some type of connection, some type of story that is personal that will be positive in your life. And part of you being able to do that is using the Airstream to do
Yeah.
it.
Because
Yes.
of the
And
Airstream.
that is awesome. I wish you the best to
Yes.
pull that off for
I
sure.
hope that comes to fruition very soon.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's exciting. I mean, we've had a few people on our podcast already that have hatches, and we have hatch envy. Our trailer is not designed for rear entry with the hatch like that, but man, it really looks like a cool design.
It is a $7,800 uplift
sure.
for the Flying Cloud, the Trade Wind, or the International,
Yeah.
which are the only 3 trailers that can have a rear hatch.
Yep. But
Didn't they first come out with that in the big classics? Isn't that where they first introduced that?
the hatches? No, they were more for the special edition trailers like the Eddie Bauer and the Tommy Bahama and things like that. I think actually they didn't even have it around for the Eddie Bauer maybe, but definitely the Tommy Bahama and a few others. But then they made it as an option for any trailer with that kind of acceptable floor plan. But it's $7,800 is a lot. But when you look at the quality of the craftsmanship of that hatch by itself,
It's
you
amazing.
can tell why. I mean,
Yes, you can.
Yeah,
Oh, it's huge.
it's awesome. Yeah. That's really cool. So putting the possible trade of your or sale of your base camp and getting into something else aside, have you got anything like epic planned for the first part of the year or any kind of super fun stuff scheduled?
We're on hold because Keith decided he'd go back to work
Uh-oh.
that's
after
a
retiring.
4-letter word. You can't do that.
Somebody
Well-
dangled a giant carrot in front of his nose,
Uh-oh.
and they coerced him into a short-term contract.
Yes.
Yeah.
With, that he's all excited about. So we'll be
that's
we'll
cool.
be looking at things to do.
So, as Val said, I have unique skills. In many cases, there's not too many people in the world do what I do for a living.
You're a rocket scientist, aren't you? I know it.
Nuclear.
Nuclear.
Oh,
Nuclear
you were
power.
close.
Yeah. You were so close. Yeah. Well, it has to do with nuclear power stations.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
And,
So-
about 3 weeks ago, I had a call from a government and asked me, would you consider coming back to work? We understand you had an accident. You retired, but we need your help because you're one of just a handful of people in the world have done what we need you to do. So
Very cool.
so
We
that-
have a movie star and somebody that is
A
only
nuclear physicist.
one of a few
It's like,
people
well,
in the world.
Yeah.
What is it?
I call him a troubleshooter.
A troubleshooter.
Because it's more like when everything ages out, right? So when a power plant of any kind has to upgrade, you have to do that very carefully and mesh a lot of different systems. You're not just upgrading one thing; you're upgrading a series of things, and you don't want the power to stop. You want to take in, have it go hiccup free. So there's a lot of planning involved, and then a lot of timing involved, so that things, you can upgrade to the new system, and that they all talk together.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
And then nothing blows up or nothing.
yeah, that too.
Yeah. Don't want any of that. That's
Yeah.
probably not a joke for a nuclear scientist.
no,
Nobody
it's
wants
really
to-
not.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
Nobody likes to talk about
Yeah,
blowing stuff up.
This is
No.
not Oppenheimer. This
Yeah,
not the
yeah.
3 hour. epic. We're not going down that path.
Yeah. Well, that's
Although that movie is more understandable when you know what's going
absolutely.
on. Yeah.
Right.
So I guess it's going to give you a little bit of time to make that right decision on what trailer to get and get it dialed in,
Yes.
possibly for your next season.
Well, we've talked to one of the dealers here at the the rally, and unfortunately, if it is a trade win, it has a long lead time
Yeah,
of
Oh.
ordering. It's become a very popular trailer,
for sure.
and there's not a whole lot of them just sitting and lying
Yeah,
around.
I
Right.
bet not.
Right.
So we keep scouring the Airstream for sales.
Yeah.
And looking, where we can go within like 8-hour drive or something to go look at and or pick up.
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
we have the big rig ordered so we can tow a larger
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
vehicle.
So we
Step
have
by
a
step.
small truck. We don't have a big, F-250 truck. We just
Yeah.
got a small mid-size pickup truck because the base camp is so light at 4,100 pounds that you can tow it just about, as I said, about anything.
Yeah.
So to get up to a trade wind or a flying cloud requires us to get a bigger truck. And
You see the smile on his face, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. I saw that.
Order a new truck.
Yeah.
well,
Yay!
and that was part of the equation as we started looking at trucks. Val being 5'2", we couldn't get a 250
Yeah.
because it was
It's a long ways up there.
a long ways up there. So we had to order effectively a 150 with a 250 tow package on it, so that we keep closer to the ground. So I got told that's a unicorn truck.
Ooh,
They just
probably so.
they just don't have them sitting around. So
Oh. Get you a stepping stool.
I had no idea. He has all this in his head, and he knows exactly what he needs, and with his legs being stiff, and he has to worry about that too.
Yeah.
So I'll need a running board. Yeah, or flip down.
You know how they get those ramps for the pets?
Yes,
Just get y'all a
get
ramp.
Oh, yeah.
That's not a bad idea because hopping up off of the bumper is kind of sketchy.
Yes.
We have a desire, and probably before too much longer, a need for a new tow vehicle, and we're going to have to find a unicorn truck as well, because I think that I want to get a 1-ton truck with an 8-foot bed with a gas engine.
that is a unicorn.
Wow.
Yeah, and there are a lot of those out there, but they're all like work truck trim levels.
Yeah.
You know, and Gina's like,
No.
She's like, we want something
No,
nice
as
in the
much
cab.
as we're in it, I
Yeah.
want something nicer.
So
Yes.
to get gas engine, 8-foot bed, nice interior trim, it's a unicorn. And we across multiple brands, you know, it doesn't.
Right.
They just don't make them because you know a lot of people tow with diesel, and the tow vehicle conversation is not one we want to participate in. But that's just like I feel like I'd rather have the gas, and it's just hard to come by.
So if anybody knows of a truck
Yes,
with
Yeah,
that
hint,
script,
Yeah.
send him
For
a
sure.
message.
Yeah.
Or if you have a trade winds for sale for them.
Yeah, there we go.
So, final kind of question before we start wrapping up, I guess, is like, share with us a little bit about like your experience so far, being part of the Airstream Club, and just what you feel like, you know, sharing about those experiences, positive or negative, either one. Anything?
I would say very positive.
Yeah.
It's really, they've welcomed us. We're the one-off at all the rallies with the base camp.
Yeah.
But we've shown up. You know, here we did a tour of the vehicles, and just about everyone stopped by to see it and was amazed at how big and roomy, and because everyone was thinking of 20 foot against, you know, a 30-foot international. It's got to be tightly and cramped, and it really wasn't.
Yep.
So they've welcomed us truly as a family, and I would highly recommend. We've tried to go, other than the 9-month break where I was recovering, we've made most of the rallies and had a great time
Very
with
good.
the team, you know, and as family. It really has become a family.
That's awesome.
I
Yeah.
agree. And also, when random people stop by that aren't of the Airstream family, they stop by and they ask questions, and then, you know, we tell them why all the Airstreams are in one place, and that it's a club, and that you have people who are like-minded. And it's funny how so many Airstream owners have a lot of the same kind of a mindset. And you'll have a stranger walk up and introduce themselves, or they'll walk by, stop, chit chat with you. You reach out, pet their dog, you know, and y'all become connected. And then things like that fun bingo that we had.
Yeah. All of that.
And all the little activities that people think of as like bonding. You sit down at a table, you don't know everybody there, but by the time it's over, you're chit chatting with everybody. Yeah.
Right. Is there anything that you just want to share with anyone out there listening that has made the biggest impact on you since you've had your Airstream, maybe moving forward in the future, or maybe something that happened in the past, but anything that you'd like to leave us with today?
I think the camaraderie with
I
Airstream.
agree. The connection.
The connection. You know, we've had, I can remember one rally where, well, this rally is a good example. One of the Airstreamers I'd never met before was following me and said, you know, your right-hand taillight is out on your base camp. Did you know that? And he offered to help me troubleshoot what the problem was. And it turned out to be a fuse in the engine block of the truck. And who would have thought the engine block of the truck would have a fuse that would cause your Airstream? The truck lights were working. Everything was working except the Airstream wasn't. And so the willingness for people to go out of their way to try and take care of you just like a family.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot. People will say, somebody said today, oh, the rubber seal on our lock is off. Does anybody know how to fix it? And somewhere somebody has. Or even if you're off on your own, we've seen people who have reached out, on the Facebook page and said, hey, I'm in such and such, and I need somebody who's had the same problem. And immediately you get answers from people.
Yeah, we've had that conversation before, where people have shared that the community and the outreach that people do for each other. You know, they're constantly helping each other, and you know, somewhere down the line, someone has had something similar to what you're going through, you know, happen, and they don't keep it to themselves. They reach out and say, yes, let me help you. So we agree with you on that. We've liked that too and enjoyed it.
I think that we all know it and know what we're feeling, but like this iconic brand has a energy surrounding it because of its history, its quality, its uniqueness, and anybody that ends up buying one and owning one starts picking up on that, and it's a positive energy that causes people to stay connected and become connected because of the commonality of owning one. And then that's the beginning. And then what you just talked about as far as the camaraderie, the friendship, the community through the club and beyond, that takes it to the next level. And it's different than anything else in the RV space. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's it doesn't matter whether it's a base camp or a 33-foot classic or one of those big cool motorhomes over there that right now at this rally there's 4 of them at this rally.
Actually, 5.
There's
5?
They're
Yeah,
land
there's
yachts.
one that's only 17 ever made.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that one. Yeah, and so it's any of that, and all of that is what is causing this to be such a fun addition to our lives, and I hope so for you guys too as
Yes.
well. So
And it's what's brought us together.
for sure,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Here we are.
And now we know a movie star, Gina.
We do.
Yeah.
And a nuclear scientist.
It's awesome.
Yes.
And, yeah.
Yes. And a short girl.
Yeah.
No,
Ano-
just
another
It is
another short girl.
a
Yeah, because
fun,
I'm very
fun-
short.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fun couple. Good to meet you. Good to know you. And look forward to seeing you down the road. And thank
Yes.
you guys so very much for
Thank you. This was
participating
lovely.
in the podcast.
Yeah.
Yes,
was great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Chris, get out your notebook. We got to do the autograph real quick.
We do. We'll get
Yes,
your autograph
yes.
before you leave. All right.
All right. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you.
Alrighty.
Thanks.
Base camps are so cool.
They really are.
Yeah, you know they're one of the smallest Airstreams, but they make such a big impression.
Well, you know what they say, don't you? That dynamite comes in small packages.
Whoa! Keith said we couldn't talk about stuff blowing up, Gina.
Oh, I know, but it's so much fun.
Yeah, you know what is fun
What?
is understanding and discovering that we have people that are listening to this podcast. We've got people commenting. We've got messages coming in. And what we thought we'd start doing is encouraging that and asking people to send in a question, send in a comment, send it by email to info@therivetedfox.com. We will read it on the podcast and acknowledge it and answer it if it's a question, and then joke around about it if it's a comment. Who knows? I mean, whatever. We'll just have fun with it. But it's a way that we can interact and engage in a fun way through the podcast.
It sounds like a lot of fun. Can I write in a question?
Yes, and you can answer it yourself if you'd like.
I can. I can do
Sure.
the question and the answer.
You can do
All
whatever
right,
you
come
want.
on, you guys, send those questions in. We'd love to hear from you, and then we'd like to announce your questions and do the answers on air.
I think it'll be fun, and always, follow the podcast wherever you listen to it. You'll be notified of new episodes. We invite you to check out our Patreon page, the Riveted Fox community on Patreon. We've got a lot of fun happening with the podcast, but we do need your support and help with keeping it out there. And as always, if you're interested in being on as a guest, what do they do, Gina?
Oh, what do? They contact us. That's what they do.
That's right.
They say, hey, I got a story to tell you. And we're like, okay, come on and join us, right?
Come on and join us.
It's a lot of fun, you guys. Come on, jump on in.
We will see you on the next episode, and we will
Have safe travels. We'll see you down the road.